In the shed this morning, grabbed my dive gear. Probably look like I've just woken up because I have. It's been rough with the little guy, but I'm gonna grab my dive gear. I'm absolutely terrible. I haven't cleaned this since I used it last, because the last time I actually used this, last time I used my dive gear was when I got the hook in my hand when I was wading out onto the reef. So I forgot about it and I've left it covered in sand. That is absolutely terrible of me, but we'll get it sorted. I'll grab my dive gear. We're gonna go get some crayfish this morning. Weather is absolutely magical. So I'm gonna jump in the car, sort my dive gear out. We'll go jump in the water, try and get a feed of crayfish, and hopefully we get a few. Should be good time of year for them before they've started walking out, so we should see a heap of crays. Fingers crossed the water's as clean as I hope it is for the spot that I want to go. Grab this dive gear, let's get out there and get some crayfish. Down to the beach now. We are going to jump in the water and try and find some crayfish. Heap of little reefs and stuff behind us. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to see it. It looks really clean. All the dark patches. Don't need to go far offshore. I'm going to be like 50, 100 meters offshore at most, in like 2-3 meters of water for these crays. So if the water's clean enough and the crays are there, we'll get into them. Let's get suited up and jump in.
Finally found some crays, and I see a jumbo, and I decide to go for that one and miss all of the others. Attempt number 2 down at that ledge, and there's some easy ones sitting right in front of me, but for some reason I've decided to go for a harder one because it looked a little bigger. I bumped this one with the loop and scare it away. I'm realising that I'm very rusty on the cray loop because these were quite easy crays. The next one, pretty much the same thing. Bump the cray and it's scared all of its mates off, and they've all shot back under the ledge where I can't get them, and they're no longer easy to get. After about the 20th crayfish that I've spotted, I'm now realising that I'm very bad at this, and of course I leave a couple of easy ones to go for a harder one that's a bit bigger. Instead of just going for a crayfish and getting it in the bag, I go for a hard one again. Hey, would you look at that? I've got one. No way. After about 10 attempts, I've finally got a cray. Finally starting to get the hang of this, starting to get some crayfish. This was the very next cave. I found another one and got one more. This one was a little smaller, so I just had to double check with the measure. He's a couple of mil oversized, so it's a taker, but just had to double check. Easy to check it in the water with my gauge just to make sure I'm not bringing any undersized crays back. Another ledge absolutely loaded with them, full of easy to get crays, and I've messed that one up as well. We'll try again. And I've messed that up too. So I try and grab it, and I messed that up too. Give up on that ledge. Cray number 3 is a keeper as well, so in the bag that one will go. At this point it's just funny. I have messed up so many crayfish. I need lessons or more practice. I haven't done this in a while, but this is just absolutely terrible and embarrassing that I'm missing so many crays. Off that one goes too. Hey, I got one. Maybe I'm not so bad after all. Alright, looks like I'm starting to get the hang of this. Maybe it's because I'm actually going for the easier to get crays rather than trying to go for the big ones right at the back behind everything, but I'm starting to get a couple. Quick check with the measure, and this one's just size, so it's another keeper. There's two really easy ones right in front of me, but for some reason I'm going for the hardest one at the back. And I miss, of course. Why? There's two right in front that are easier.
Oh, just got out of the water. That was hard. I've realised a couple of things. I'm really unfit because I haven't been doing anything for a long time, and I'm rusty as heck on the cray loop. So I ended up with, we've got 5 crays here. I think that's 5, 1, 2, 3, 5. We're allowed 8, but I found 5. I spent a lot of time searching for the right sort of caves and couldn't find what I was looking for. In the end, found a few, but I should have got so many more. I absolutely sucked on the loop. I would have got my 8 if I had have got everyone that I had a good go at. But all in all, still worth it. Magic weather, good little swim. Let's go get these crays sorted out. I think I'm gonna make some pickled crayfish with this lot. Can't wait, it's gonna be tasty. All right, I'm in my mess of a backyard, but I've got all the stuff, decided what I'm gonna do with the crayfish. So I've decided that I wanna do pickled crayfish. So I've got everything I need here. I got the jar for pickling, the pickling mix. I'll chuck the ingredients list up for that in the description below, so check that out if you want, if you're interested in what I'm actually putting in it. Chopping board, crayfish. So let's get these crays sorted out. I'll chuck them in, show you what I'm going to do, how I'm going to pickle them and stuff like that, and I can't wait to eat these things. These are going to be so tasty. I've got trusty Steve out here with me. He's waiting patiently for some crayfish. He's normally gets a lot of fresh fish whenever I'm cooking stuff up, but wait, stay here. He normally gets a lot of fresh fish whenever I'm cooking stuff up, so he hasn't had it for a little bit, and he loves crayfish. Crayfish and squid are his 2 favourites, so he's patiently waiting for me to sort these crayfish out so that I can give him some. So let's get into it, chop these guys up and chuck them in the pickling jar. Don't know how many of these crays I'm going to use. That's the biggest one, so I'll keep that out. Probably use, I reckon, probably 3. So I'll get the tails off first. Just with a knife. You can twist them and rip them off, but I get them with a knife so that all of it comes out. Don't waste any that way. And just got to break them out of the tail. So I just break the underside, crack them. They're not going to come out easy. No. That's faster. Stay there. Alright, got our 2 little crayfish halves. I'm just going to pull the meat out of them. Made a mess on the chopping board as well. So, pull the meat out of the tail like that. And then you can just chop that into little pieces and put it in the pickling jar. Nothing fancy. Little pieces. You don't want to go too big with it, otherwise they will
take forever to pickle. So I'm just doing little chunks. Oh, that's too bright for the camera. There you go, just little chunks of 20-cent piece sizes. And in the pickling jar they go. I don't know how many will fit in this jar. It's quite a small jar, probably have to do 2. Go. Do you want some, Steve? And Steve wants some crays. Okay. Let's go give Steve some crayfish. Hey bud. Hello. Here you go. You want some crayfish? There we go. Steve loves his crayfish. He's a very spoiled little cat with his fresh seafood, so crayfish is one of his favourites. Squid is the other one. That sun is killer. Alright, let's get the rest of this sorted. This cray was ready to malt, so there's another layer skin underneath the first layer. There we go. So there's the outer skin. It was ready to malt its shell. There's its next one, and then there's the meat underneath that. So there's 3 layers to this crayfish. You've got to get the other layer off, or else it'll go all tough and it won't be good in the pickle. Peel it all off. There we go. So yeah, you can see there's the new shell, not hardened yet, and then the hard outer shell as well. So. Steve's back. He wants some more. Come on, bud. Hey, here you go. Good boy. Very spoiled cat. Right. Don't worry if the bits are too cut up too small, because it'll all pickle. It doesn't really matter. Just don't have them too big, otherwise they'll take far too long to pickle. So that's 2 crayfish. I think that's going to be more than enough in that jar. I'm going to have to get another jar. There's our jar of crayfish. That's 2 crayfish chopped up in that jar. More than enough. And this is our mix. So there's a bit of everything. There's oregano, there is kaffir lime leaves, pepper, salt, a couple of different types of vinegar, parsley, lemongrass. Yeah, a whole heap of different things. So I'll chuck the ingredients list in the description below, and you just want to put a bit of mix, and then you can pour the liquid in and just sort of 1/2 to 3/4 fill the jar, and then you're just going to top the rest with some oil on top. Bit of the liquid just to fill it up. You need to make sure it's covered. Actually, I might fill this jar. I'll do one more crayfish. We'll do one more in this jar, because that's what I've got. So I've got a fair bit of, see the crayfish is about there, and then that's all the mix. So I'll put another crayfish in and top the rest up with the mix, and then put the olive oil on the top. So I'll mix it all around afterwards. We'll do one more cray in there, we'll get 3. If you want to do crayfish on the barbecue, that's the best way to do it. Just split the tails in half down the middle, and you've got butterfly crayfish. But I'm going to upset some people, because I'm not the biggest fan of eating crayfish. I've been spoiled as a kid. I've eaten hundreds of these things, so I'm not too keen on eating them. So that's why I like doing different things, like pickling is good, because it's something a bit different. I don't like the taste of just cooked crayfish in the oven or on the barbecue or whatever, so I like doing crayfish mornayes,
Pickling them is really nice. I do little crayfish bites, like little pieces, and then crumb them and then deep fry them. Things like that. I'm not the biggest fan of just straight out chucking it on the barbie with some garlic butter like most people do. Southern crayfish, yes. Western, nah. Not the biggest fan of them. I'd much rather eat other things. But I'm just being fussy and I'm probably going to upset people with that. But hey, whatever. Alright, that is 3 crayfish in the jar. It's looking a bit better. I'll top the rest up as much as I can fit with the sauce, the marinade mix. That's it there. I think that'll be about as all we'll get in that mix. Alright, so you'll be able to see the camera will focus. Oh yeah, you can see that. So you see the edges of the crayfish that started going white already. This vinegar has already started cooking this crayfish. You got to give it probably a day. So I'd give this about a day at least in the fridge. Probably best after about 3 to 4 days in the fridge before all this crayfish is cooked and it's perfect. But you can see this has only been in here for 15 minutes and it's already starting to cook the crayfish. So that's why you don't want to do big pieces, nice and small, so that it cooks nice and quick. Otherwise you're going to be waiting weeks and weeks and weeks, and the outside of it's going to be really, really strong and the inside of it's going to be almost raw. It's not exactly what you want. So you got to resist the temptation to eat this straight away. So you've got to leave it in the fridge for a couple of days. So best thing is to make up a couple of batches of it and then you can sort of like keep going. So that's all good. All right. All right. I've got a little bit more for Steve. Let's go feed him. Stevie, come here. Hello, buddy. Oh, hey. Hey. Here we go. Good boy, Stephen. One last little bit, bud. There we go. Alright. Good boy, Stevie. That's it. Good boy. Alright. That is Steve happy. Whoa, that sun is bright. Ah, camera can't keep up. Alright, well, I'll take this back inside and we'll shake it up, mix it around, and I'll show you the last little bit with this one. So I'm gonna put this in the outside fridge so that I don't touch it, because if I put it in the inside fridge, I'm gonna wanna eat it tonight. So I've gotta put it in the outside fridge so I won't touch it until tomorrow at least. And then we'll check on it again tomorrow and I'll show you what it's gonna look like in 24 hours. It's gonna taste good. Cannot wait. Finished. So I've stirred it up so you can see it's all mixed together properly, and I've put, focus, a cap of olive oil on top. It's kind of hard to see through the lid, but there's about a centimetre of olive oil on top, just to sort of like a cap to seal it. So we'll leave it, chuck it in the fridge, close that up. Sweet. So we'll close that up, chuck it in the fridge, and come check it tomorrow. Alright, finally got back to this jar of pickled crayfish. I made it, did I make it Monday? Yeah, I made it Monday. Okay, so I made it Monday. Today is the following Tuesday. I got really busy and then I went away down south. We went down south for a few days and went fishing and stuff down there. So kind of got left in the fridge, which I'm not going to say is a bad thing, because it's definitely going to make it taste a hell of a lot better. But this is what we've now got. So there she is in there. There is bits of crayfish all through there. The sauce has got a bit of a different colour, but give it a bit of a shake, and giving it a bit of a shake. So there it is there. Let's see if I can find a piece. There's a piece sitting on top right there. I don't want all of the herbs or the oil on it, but that's a peppercorn. That's gonna suck to eat. There we go. Give me that. Alright. I had a big slice of garlic on that piece as well. But That is really good. Okay, that's amazing. Normally with these crayfish, they end up quite chewy because of the layer of the skin, the sort of the sinew and stuff like that. And I'm not the biggest fan of them because of it, but when you pickle them, they go super, super soft. I'm trying to get another bit. It's really hard to do this one-handed because there's all these herbs and everything all in the jar, and you don't want to eat all of them. There we go. So that's what, if the camera will focus, that's what it looks like there. So it's cooked all the way through, one of the little pieces. Super tasty. I reckon this is probably one of my best pickled crayfish I've ever done. This is good. I think I'm gonna make this a lot more through summer. Beautiful. Well, that's a massive success. Turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to for the first time trying this recipe for crayfish, but I'll chuck this recipe in the description below, so if you guys want to have a go at this yourself, you'll be able to do that. It's, yeah, definitely worth trying something different for crayfish. This works with octopus. You probably can do it with other fish as well. Not really sure, I haven't tried it with just like normal fish, but yeah, definitely crayfish, octopus, amazing recipe. So yeah, cheers for watching, guys.